Hello, everyone. I'm here in the first chapter of Critchley's On Humor. This will look familiar. And the three theories of humor. These aren't Critchley's theories, by the way. They're from a source that he's citing here, John Morell. And a lot of you in your discussion last week used the incongruity theory because the element of surprise in a joke. Well, true, but there are other reasons people laugh, sometimes out of nervousness. And it's kind of inspired by a book by Sigmund Freud, who was the father of the science we now know as psychology. And that same book gets mentioned in the chapter you've got to read for this week. And here it is, right there, same book. So think about the relief theory this time, quite a bit more. I only saw a couple of you use it in last week's reading questions. So notice that Critchley mentions Coyote and Roadrunner mainly for the repetition, the mechanical repetition of Coyote trying and failing again and again at catching the Roadrunner. And he goes on to say a little bit more about human qualities and machine qualities and the difference between the two being blurred and sometimes make people a little bit nervous. We often laugh because we are troubled by what we laugh at because somehow it frightens us. So that's kind of the gist of machine humor. A robot like an AI, like ChatGPT or one of the other generative AI applications, or an actual physical robot having human-like qualities, or a human who becomes machine-like. A classic example is a film that Critchley cites, Charlie Chaplin's silent film. Now that's way back, the early 20th century, when movies were all silent because sound didn't come along till around 1930. So his movie Modern Times is where the character becomes more and more robot-like, more and more machine-like, and finally gets sucked into the machine, becoming part of it in a way. Let me take you there. I'm not going to run the clip right now, but I'm going to show you where to find it. I've set up a YouTube channel for the class, and you'll see it right here. And if you scroll down, of course, you'll see Coyote there. And then all the way down, you'll see Modern Times. Take a look at it. Critchley discusses it, and it really shows in pictures what he's talking about. One of the reasons we laugh at machine-related humor. Now let me move on just a little bit to assignments. But first, just an overview here that we always have, the to-do list for the week. Critchley Chapter 4, which you just saw. Introduction to students on the 7 signals of meaning. And sorry, that text is not free. The publisher refused to give it up for free. It's a small publisher and they just can't afford to do that. Not a lot of money though. And also generalizations, arguments by example in Rulebook for Arguments. Short, but really useful because not all arguments have just one premise. So take a look at that. And on that note, let's go to one assignment besides Wednesday discussion and Friday's reading questions, is the essay that's due just a few days after you come back from spring break. And of course, you can use Weston's discussion of argumentative structures like analogies, deductions, arguments about causes, and looking at some of the arguments that the satirical articles in The Onion are putting out there, because satire has to make fun of something. It has to ridicule it. And that, of course, implies an argument. I think you're all doing pretty well at seeing that when something makes fun of something, it's putting an argument there. It's criticizing it, right? It's making an argument. Option 2 allows you to use Critchley. And I can't tell you which article you pick will necessarily use incongruity or superiority or the relief theory of humor. That's for you to decide and just make a good argument in your analysis. One at a time, though. Don't try to say one article shows all three theories. That might be a stretch unless you can really make a good argument with lots of examples. Not a research paper, so depending on your option, you just have one source. Weston's book or Critchley's book, and also the articles from The Onion on your works cited page. And again, if you go to the modules page, you'll see it in the web links, the Purdue OWL, to show how to correctly format for your works cited page. I'm going to ask you to cite works in your paragraph as well. Whenever you bring up material from either Weston or Critchley, remember, don't use them both, depends on the option. So in-text parenthetical citations, this is a new one for many of you. At the end of the sentence, the author's name and the page number, not the year. MLA uses page numbers, and they walk you through that on the Purdue OWL. And this is a new item you haven't seen before, but I've seen a few of you using ChatGPT. I can tell by the way it reads, and there's software I use to detect it. Anyway, just tell me what you used. For instance, if you use ChatGPT or Google's version of it or another version of it, or if you used the Purdue OWL to generate a citation. They have a citation generator. Well, then you're using a computer software application or another citation generator online. So any software application, I guess Word counts. Microsoft Word does as well. So it should be after your works cited page. And a few things to avoid, just 3. One is taking a look at your previous extended argument analysis essay. If I mention anything that could have used more time and attention, keep that in mind as you get this one going. Also, avoid repeating yourself too much in your introduction to the end of your essay, your conclusion paragraph. And I give you some advice on the Writer's Toolbox on how to avoid that. And this, of course, also has something to do with AI, generative AI. That's AI that produces text in this case. other forms of AI produce pictures and so on, but this and voice. But we're talking about generative text producing ones like ChatGPT. You saw the statement before on the previous essay. It's going to be pretty rigorously applied this time. And extra credit. Now, last time the extra credit was the early bird option, going 24 hours earlier of the deadline. This is different. If you want the extra credit this time, I want you to pick up a really good habit to have. Working with a tutor at the Mesa College Writing Center. And this is just a quotation from the syllabus. And by the way, see this? Right here. There it is. There's the link on setting up an appointment. You can do in person or online, totally up to you. If you've got a class on campus, it might be good to do a face-to-face. Either way, be sure to remind the tutor that I need to get a notification from the Writing Center of your session. They have a process for doing that. It's pretty easy to do, but you do have to remind them. They might not do it automatically. They're going to be a little busy this point in the semester. Okay? So that's pretty much it. And as always, since this has a few new elements in it, using Critchley, design statement, Writing Center. If you have questions about any of these, just remember, if you hop over to the discussions page, go to the class chat room, leave a question, because your classmates might benefit from seeing a question they were thinking of asking and look at my advice. And of course, you'll pick up 2 points for asking a question that hasn't already been asked. Have a great week and a restful spring break.